So reaching back into your recent past, explain to our audience what the Paris Accord was about and why it was important to extract the United States from it.
Well, it was a really big deal because it sent not only a message to the world that President Trump was going to shift his focus and put the interests of the United States first, he also made clear to the voters that the days of promising one thing on the campaign trail and then doing something different when you get to Washington, D.C. were over. And really getting out of the Paris Climate Accord was a key part of this. Recall, during the Obama administration, all of the UN delegates and the climate conference attendees, they dealt with an administration that would apologize for American excellence. President Trump made clear that that day was over, and withdrawing from the Paris Climate Accord was a key part of that. There were obviously economic benefits, job benefits, but also American sovereignty benefits, because we knew what the left was going to do, and we've seen it on full display during the Biden administration, that nonprofits would try to take the Paris Climate Accord to U.S. court systems and use it as an argument to justify regulatory actions that were otherwise unjustifiable. So it really sent a strong signal. American interests were going to be first. And I'll tell you this, David, I briefed the president a number of times on getting out of the Paris Climate Accord. And the craziest thing was that there were a fair amount of people that worked for President Trump during the early days of the Trump administration that wanted us to stay in. So there was the stay in crowd and there was the get out crowd. But every time, and what ultimately it came down to, I briefed him on the Paris Climate Accord, he would turn to me and ask me a question. What is this going to do for the U.S. worker? He made very clear that he wanted the United States to only be a part of agreements where it was a good agreement, number one, and number two, it was going to boost the outlook and opportunity of the American worker and the American business. The Paris Climate Accord is the extreme opposite. Also, it undermines environmental progress, something we've done very well in this country. So getting out was hugely important and a monumental event during those first few months of the Trump administration.
And one footnote to this, I seem to recall, again, it's been a few years now, that it put Red China in a different category than the United States. So we would be subjected to extreme standards, and they basically got a free pass, even though they're the number 2 economy in the world. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. All the hardship fell on the United States, while China, Russia, and India got an absolute free pass, and they are the worst offenders when it comes to any form of pollution.
Absolutely.